Game 2 of a 3-game series between Cincinnati and Wichita State in the American here on WSUTV. The first meeting ever went the way of Cincinnati last night, 8-2. Welcome into X Stadium and Tyler Field. Another beautiful day for baseball. Shane Dennis and Denning Garrick bringing you Game 2 of this 3-game series. And unfortunately last night, Denning, it was pretty much all Cincinnati. And the big reason why, or one reason why, where it started and pretty much finished, was JT Perez. He was as advertised.
Put on a clinic, really, with his ability to command the strike zone. He was working up, he was working down, he was working in, and he was working out, throwing all of his pitches for strikes. Had Wichita State guessing pretty much the entire ball game, and with the exception of Travis Young's solo homer, the Shockers couldn't touch him. And
when he got in trouble, it seemed like his defense bailed him out, although he helped himself. He got 4 double plays last night. Trey Vickers hit into 2, Alec Boehm hit into 2, and that 4 double plays turned by Cincinnati was a season high against Wichita State. While their defense was good, you had excellent plays in the outfield. One that carried out of play, that was Jordan Ramey, and Treg Habercorn had really 2 plays that would have made the SportsCenter top 10. Ramey's did. It was in the top 3. On the other hand, Wichita State seemed like they were this close to making plays similar to that, but it just didn't go their way defensively again.
A couple of almost catches that really shifted the perspective of this ball game. First, Travis Young in center field, deemed to have dropped this baseball and not caught it on the transfer. And then down the right field line, Luke Ritter in and out of the glove, turns into an RBI double, and Cincinnati able to coast from there.
And speaking of Luke Ritter, his hot hitting streak continues, hit in his 18th consecutive game, had a multi-hit game for Wichita State and really took the drama out of it early. Got a hit in his very first at-bat.
This guy was hitting 163 at the end of that UT Arlington series back on March 11th. Since then, a blistering 398 average in addition to the lengthy hitting streak. He has just been a rock at the top of this Wichita State order.
Now, fortunately for Wichita State last night, Memphis lost as well, so they stay ahead of Memphis in the standings. Remember, only 8 teams go to the American Conference Championship in Clearwater. Shockers will turn to Tyler Davis, a freshman who's been very good in his last 3 starts. He'll look to continue to build on that, and hopefully the Shockers can even this series up at
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new Student-Athlete Success Center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Shockers trying to even the series up at 1 game apiece. A beautiful day for baseball for the second consecutive day. Second of a 9-game homestand to wrap up the home portion of the schedule. That's 81 baseball degrees for you right there, with the wind helping a left-hand pull hitter here this afternoon. Shocker defense last night made a couple of errors, but did turn 3 double plays themselves. They kind of played with fire a little bit in the first 3 innings before the 4th. The roof caved in, but Shockers with 3 double plays turned behind Cody Hoyer and others. Luke Ritter getting started second. This is their quote-unquote right-hand batting or right-hand pitching lineup as Gibson is in, Duga out. Jackson plays left field for the second consecutive game of the series. Tyler Davis will face this starting lineup, and statistically they didn't look like much coming into the series last night, Denning, but 8 runs and 14 hits That kind of tells the tale. They had their way offensively.
And the top three hitters in the Cincinnati order did a lot of the damage. Motice, Thomas, and McVeigh combined for 8 base hits and 15 trips. Those three were setting the table and also doing a little bit of the damage in terms of knocking in runs. And so it would be well for Tyler Davis to take care of those top trio hitters and keep them off the base pass, so the Shockers are going to have some success here this afternoon.
So you're saying 8 out of 15 from the top three is what they're in the top three to do, right?
That's pretty much the job, yeah.
Tyler Davis' job is to continue his hot streak, if you will. 3 consecutive starts for him have all been really solid. 4 earned runs in his last 15 innings, maybe most importantly, Denning, 2 walks over his last 3 starts.
What you like to see from a freshman, not pitching scared, trusting your stuff, going right after guys. We saw how effective that can be last night from JT Perez. See if Davis follows a similar formula.
Good start as the first pitch of the game is a called strike, so says Mark Huseman behind the plate. Kyle Motice was not exactly a hot hitter inside the conference coming into action last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. Even with his 3 hits that he had a night ago, he's still only hitting .268 in American play. Should be easy for Ritter. They've kind of belied their numbers a little bit, don't you think, Denning? You got a team that hits .231 inside the conference. They pitched okay, but considering in 16 games they've scored 79 runs, 9 and 7, that .231 batting average really doesn't compute.
And it didn't look like a .231 hitting team last night by any means. 14 hits and a lot of just quality at-bats, basically 1 through 9. Guys who weren't making it easy for Shocker pitching and grinding out plate appearances, forcing long counts, and eventually getting a good swing.
So Kyle Motice grounds out 4-3. Here's Joey Thomas. This is, in case you missed it last night, the exact same lineup as the Bearcats had last night. No balls and 2 strikes. Thomas, 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 batted in, walked once. Shocker pitching last night doled out 6 bases on balls. Great sequence by Tyler Davis. Maybe a pitcher-friendly edge, but he dotted that outside black 2 away.
This is where you're trying to put a fastball on nothing in 2. A lot of times you're not going to get this call just because the intention of the pitch is typically to be a ball or 2 off the plate away. But sometimes if you got a little bit of tail and a good frame job from your catcher, you can grab that outer black.
I think Davis got both. So 2 up and 2 down. Connor McVeigh. And he skies one on the infield. Sun is an issue here, and a good job by Ritter because he had the best angle. Bohm and Vickers battled the sun more than him, so Ritter took it, and a quick and easy first.
Become a part of history at Wichita State University by helping us complete X Stadium. A new 10,000 square foot performance facility will give our baseball, softball, tennis, and golf student athletes the strength and conditioning training space they need. Your tax-deductible gift will help us knock it out of the park. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shock the world.
Tyler Davis made very quick work of the Bearcats lineup in the top of the first. So Cincinnati takes the field. Nathan Kroger will pitch for them. And those around him exactly the same as last night, as I mentioned in the top half of the inning. So Kroger will be making the start for Cincinnati. This will be his 11th start, 12th appearance overall. He'll be the lone right-hander in the starting rotation. JT Perez with an excellent 7+ innings a night ago. Well, Denning, normally the defensive players have the wind to deal with at X Stadium and Tyler Field. Not so much last night and today, but with a high sky and 81 degrees and a clear day, the sun is and was and probably will be an issue today.
It was a battle for this entire duration of the pop-up, and it's a good job by Luke Ritter to come over and take charge of this, because almost right off the bat you could tell Trey Vickers and Alec Boehm had a hard time seeing that baseball. It's very difficult just to get a read on it when it's that high up into the air, and of course the sunlight causing some problems.
Shockers had 9 hits last night, but didn't score until the 8th, so they'll shake it up a little bit. Ross Cadena getting the start at DH down there in the 9 spot. They will have a familiar top 3, although Travis Young in a different spot than he normally is. He has been bumped up to the 2 slot, so Luke Ritter will lead it off. Luke went 2 out of 3 last night and extended his hitting streak to 18 games, but a liner right at Ramey. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the home half of the first.
More of the same from Luke Ritter, barreling up baseballs, and you're going to see, I would imagine, a lot of early count swings against Nathan Kroger, because like Perez, he's going to fill up the strike zone. Only 13 walks now in 55 innings so far this season. A guy who is around the zone a lot, doesn't have big strikeout stuff, just 39 punch outs, but there will be pitches to swing at.
And if his recent track record is any indication, there will be some runs to score. Gave up 4 runs against Kansas in 5 innings last weekend. Gave up 5 runs in only 3 innings against UConn on the 21st. And UCF touched him up for 5 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks in 5 innings in Orlando. Young didn't mean to do it. 1-1. It is a, as they say, Denning, stock right-hander. That's Nathan Kroger, 87-91. No pitch that is anything spectacular. More hits than innings pitched, but doesn't walk very many either, 13 in 55 innings.
Has had some trouble with the long ball. 8 home runs allowed. He's also surrendered 12 other extra base hits, and so a chance for Wichita State to maybe get right a little bit offensively after last night.
Perfect conditions, as we mentioned. It's hot. The wind is drifting out toward right field. So for the second straight day, finally, we've had some baseball weather. And the ball figures to jump if you get a good piece of the barrel on it. And Travis Young shoots one into right. He has hit safely now in 5 of his last 7. And he's kind of Luke Ritter light. He got off to a slow start and hadn't gotten as hot as Luke has, but he's been a real benefactor. He kind of has elbowed his way into the lineup and stayed there for about the last 3 weeks.
Hard to be as hot as Luke Ritter's been, with the average almost at 400 since that March 11th date. But, yeah, I mean, Travis has got those chances primarily at the beginning against just left-handed pitching, but with the way he swung the bat, Todd Butler and Sammy Esposito felt like they had to keep his bat in the lineup somehow.
Here's Alec Boehm. He had an uncharacteristic tough night last night. Did drive in a run in his final at bat, but he grounded into double plays his first 2 times up there, and his 3rd time hit a roller to second that was really close to becoming a third. He beat the relay throw and then had a late game RBI single. Nobody home at second base. A steal for Travis Young. By the way, Luke Ritter, not surprisingly, is leading the Shockers in hitting in conference games only. But Travis Young's second now. He is well above 300 inside the conference, and he swipes his 6th base inside the league and 11th overall.
Wonder how much of that was due to Bremner not being a guy who's played a whole lot of shortstop. Just his 2nd start of the season there. Last night was his 1st, and there was some miscommunication.
A rocket into right center field, and the Shockers figured to get on the board first. Ramey did a good job to cut it off, but Wichita State has drawn first blood. RBI 42 for Alec Bohm, 1-0 Shockers.
You can see why Cincinnati was shifting Alec Bohm towards right center field all of last night. It's because he drives the ball that way with authority. Found himself a 1-1 fastball here out away from him and barrels it up. As you mentioned, Ramey, just a nice job cutting this ball off in the gap. The only thing that stops Bohm from having extra bases, but a 1-0 Wichita State lead.
I think we mentioned this a little bit last night, but with Alec Bohm and the track that he's on, every venue that he plays in front of a lot of high-profile executives. He was off on that pitch, and Troutwine fouls it back. A lot of the Philadelphia Phillies representatives have been on hand each of the last two venues the Shockers have been at, Houston and Orlando, including Charlie Manuel and Larry Boa, special advisors to the Brass. And today, and by the way, Philadelphia has the 3rd overall pick. And correct me if I'm wrong, Denning, one of the projections have Alec going either 3rd or 4th overall in the June draft.
I've seen the same.
The Phillies have the 3rd pick. The White Sox have the 4th pick. Troutwine cranks one to the pull side, never fair, and that is going to get out of play. So 0-2. The Shockers are in a hitting mood, it looks like, here in the early going.
I was trying to come back.
It kind of was.
That almost did end up on the right side of the foul pole. Like you said, that was almost never fair. And at the very last second, tried to make its way back, but not quite enough time. I was up there forever.
0-2 to Troutwine. And to finish the thought on Alec Bohm and all the heat, as they say, in the stands at every game to watch him, Al Avila, the general manager for the Detroit Tigers, is in attendance today. And in case you're wondering where the Tigers pick, they pick first, number 1, about a month from now. Bohm draws the throw.
Number 1 may have been locked up last night, if it wasn't already. Casey Mize from Auburn had 15 strikeouts against Vanderbilt. I've seen him at the top of a lot of boards. But still plenty of time for Alec Bohm to make a name for himself over these final weeks.
And a rocket into left field. The hit parade continues. So after Luke Ritter lined to right, 3 consecutive ringing base hits. And now Genesta, who begun the season pretty much the same as Bohm. That is on everybody's radar draft-wise. He has slipped a little offensively, not only inside the league, but overall. His season average has tumbled a bit below 300. Still a productive hitter, 7 home runs and 29 driven in, as you see Troutwine shoot one into left field. So 3 straight hits. And you talk about the upper level management and cross checkers and scouting directors. They're not blind, and they're not just here to see one guy. So if you have a good game or series, you can kind of vault yourself up their board, and that
absolutely,
I think, qualifies for Genesta too.
More than just one pick for the Detroit Tigers in the MLB draft, that's for sure.
You're right. True to form, Nathan Kroger has been a strike thrower, but also true to his numbers, he's already given up his share of hits here in the early going, and hard hit balls to boot.
Just 3 balls thrown so far, and no more than 1 to any one hitter. But good swing so far for Wichita State. They seem like they've got a plan up there, even in 2-strike counts like this.
Kroger, as they say, is what he is. He's going to give up more hits than innings pitched. Did so last year. Appeared mostly out of the bullpen at a 4.38 ERA, a 4.45 ERA coming into this one. Kind of amazing. He's made 10 starts and he's only 1-2. And that's going to lead Bremner right to the bag. And even though the Shockers lathered Nathan Kroger. They have to settle for one in the first.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Well, the Shockers arguably swung the bat better in the first inning than they did in the first 7 combined last night. Really good cuts and looks at Nathan Kroger. And Tyler Davis will try to duplicate his first inning. He cut right through the Cincinnati order on only 7 pitches.
Looked really good. Looked like he was in attack mode. And like the hitters had a plan against Kroger in the bottom half of the first, Davis had a plan of how he was attacking these Cincinnati hitters, throwing multiple pitches for strikes, and most importantly, commanding his fastball.
And once he got ahead of hitters, he put them away, unlike Kroger, who had trouble getting that third strike. So Joey Weimer, the left fielder, will start it. He was locked out last night, 0 for 3, did walk a couple of times.
Tyler Davis will do something that you don't see a whole lot of from just about any pitcher, and that is his back foot remains stationary throughout his entire windup. It is planted and does not move. All the movement out of his full windup is from that lead leg, and maybe Gunnar Troutwine saw something that was a little bit amiss through those first 2 pitches. But that's been kind of the overarching theme for Mike Steele and how he's handled this pitching staff is simplification. He wants as little wasted movement and motion in a guy's windup as possible.
As he should. Less is more. Now, I'm not a big fan of starting pitchers pitching out of the stretch, but if that's what it takes to simplify your delivery and throw strikes, by all means. Throwing strikes and getting ahead of hitters is the name of the game. That one nips the outside edge, 2-2.
Guy it does remind me of is Giordano Ventura, who had kind of a similar abbreviated windup. Basically just one small step.
You would never see that kind of a lineup wind-up 10 years ago. Never. And I would venture to say you would never see starting pitchers pitching out of the stretch with nobody on either. It's just not what you did.
Going over the head with the hands has almost entirely disappeared.
Uh-huh.
Liam Eddy did it earlier this season, did not use it last night. Pitching coaches trying to simplify.
After falling behind Joey Weimer and getting a little pep talk from Gunnar Troutwine, Tyler Davis went zip, zip, zip against Weimer. Second strikeout, both looking.
And if you can command on the inside part of the plate against right-handed hitters, you're going to have some success because a lot of pitchers are afraid to go in there. They're afraid of getting hurt with something that leaks back out over the plate, and some of them are afraid of hitting guys. And if you can throw a fastball for a strike and really off the plate inside and command it, you're ahead of the curve.
I think if you look in the dictionary of throwing a pitch with conviction, that last strike to Weimer would be the picture right there. That's the definition of it. Cole Murphy last night, 0 for 3. Walked, scored a run. Had a sacrifice fly, drove in one. Murphy, not a hot hitter whatsoever. 22 for 117. That's 188. And these are guys pretty much up and down the lineup, Denning. And this is kind of up your alley and your generation's alley. Talk about launch angle. These guys are looking at launch angle. And if you make your pitches, you're going to be in good shape. But you fall behind them, you'll give up some ringing base hits. And the latter happened last night. 5 up, 5 down, 3 strikeouts for Tyler Davis.
Talk about a guy who has just grabbed this role. Tyler Davis coming into his own as this season goes along. Started the year working out of the bullpen. He was getting high leverage innings, but eventually has worked his way into the weekend rotation now in a Saturday spot. And who knows, next weekend we could be looking at this guy on Friday night.
Well, to your point, he pitched twice against McNeese State opening weekend as a freshman, but it was out of the pen. And none of his first 10 outings went more than 1 2/3. He certainly had his share of scoreless outings, but they basically wanted to get one out of him, get him out of there. The coaching staff did. But then the Tulane series came along, and in that ill-fated 19-4 loss, you talk about taking one for the team. He went 3 innings in that one, gave up 7 runs. It was in the midst of a 7-error game, so certainly wasn't all his fault. But it was that game where he kind of announced that I'm more than a 1-inning guy, and if you want to lean on me a little more, go right ahead. There's a base hit into center field with 2 away. There's first base runner for Cincinnati.
Hard to find silver linings in a game in which you give up 19 runs, but discovering Tyler Davis as a guy who's capable of going more than 1 or 2 innings may have been just that.
Might have been worth it. And in that game, maybe more important than anything else, Denning, he threw 95 pitches. And because it was the first game of the series and your starter doesn't make it out of the second inning, you're looking at a long, long weekend as it pertains to your bullpen. And not only did he kind of make a statement to the coaches, to his teammates as well, and maybe a light went on for Mike Steele and Todd Butler, like, well, we might have to think about extended innings out of this guy, and here we are. A very quick and easy second inning for Tyler Davis.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Jackson, Gibson, Vickers. If anybody gets on Ross Cadena in the Shockers second. Everybody that went up there in the first inning, Denning, had good swings against Nathan Kroger. And 1 inning does not a game make, but certainly a departure from the game last night.
5 at-bats and 5 instances of solid contact is a welcome sight for Wichita State, which had a hard time putting anything together last night. Did have 9 base hits, but 4 times they got a leadoff man on, and 4 times they bounced into double plays to kind of kill any rallies. And of course, the double play ended the bottom half of the first, but if you continue to put together good at-bats, get men aboard, you like your chances eventually.
Jackson was aboard twice last night, and he lines one, and Ramey's right there. So each of the first 2 innings have resulted in a first pitch bullet right at the Cincinnati right fielder. So continued good swings against Nathan Kroger. And here's Gibson. Gibby will get the start in right field today for Wichita State. Hunter, 10 out of 31. One of those hits a home run. Gibson appeared last night as a pinch hitter. A role he had really excelled in. He's got 5 pinch hits this year. Waves and misses at an off-speed pitch, 1-1. Hunter Gibson from Oologah, Oklahoma. And a liner off of Bremner. And that'll be likely the first error. Really, Wichita State had not tested Bremner, who is not a shortstop. Just happens to be playing the position because Manny Rodriguez, their normal shortstop, has got a hamstring issue. He had a lot of simple plays last night. This was not one of them, although it wasn't a high degree of difficulty. A little tweener hop that was hit pretty well by Gibson.
All you could ask from Bremner there to do a little bit better job is just slide his body maybe a half or step to his left. That way, if it does happen to kind of get in on you, potentially you can knock it down right at your feet and still have a chance.
Hunter Gibson almost got picked off of first base. And no, Gibson is not a base stealer. Hasn't even tried one yet.
I don't know if he was ready for Kroger to throw over.
I don't think he was either.
Or if his feet just got tangled up or what. But that was an odd play. A little more on the throw. He's probably out.
He's got had a sizable lead over there. Wouldn't figure to be going, but you never know. Trey Vickers had a tough night last night, 0 for 4 with a pair of ground ball double plays, and also committed his 11th error. That's more like it.
Decent hit and run guy up there if you want to get creative with this situation. Vickers doesn't strike out a whole lot, 23 times and 113 at-bats.
Routinely takes it the other way, a.k.a. hitting behind the runner. Almost hit him. 1-1. Vickers has continued to get his hits here and there inside American play. 16 hits in 16 games, 271. Got off to a blistering start once he got off the shelf after the first 2 weeks of the season. Offensively, I'm talking about. Cooled off considerably since then. Took a shot at right field. It's 1-2. Vickers just a 185 hitter in his last 14 games. So he's come back down to earth.
Certainly not alone as far as a guy who has struggled since the start of AAC play. Bohm, Boyer, Genesta, and Troutwine all scuffling a little bit at the plate since conference season has kicked off. You're going to see those peaks and valleys through any season as the games go along. Certain guys will come into their own, start to find swings. Others will begin to slump. It's just the nature of the game.
Gibson was also caught flat-footed again. And a poor throw by Kroger maybe bailed him out. So he's almost gotten picked off twice. Thomas didn't see it to start with and still recovered to make the play. Stick-to-itiveness for Thomas, the catcher, gives Kroger the second out.
This is a very nice play. Hard to find this baseball, especially when you don't see it to begin with. And I'm not sure that Thomas even had an idea that this was his play for the first couple of seconds. Had to take the mask off and then really run a long way over towards the Cincinnati dugout to make that catch.
So here's Ross Cadena, getting the start at DH. He is 3 out of 10 at the plate this year.
Maybe Hunter Gibson and Nathan Kroger know something that I don't
Maybe.
about the stolen base potential over there.
In the air to left center field, Habercorn was playing shallow. He's going to get there. And Cadena puts a good pass on it, but Kroger turns the Shockers away here in the second.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new student-athlete success center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Tyler Davis has retired 6 of the 7 that he's faced here through the first 2 innings. Shocker freshman off to a solid start. He'll get 8, 9, and 1 in the Bearcat batting order. Cincinnati won here last night, 8-2. Out hit the Shockers 14-9 and buried him with a 5-run 4th inning. That was essentially the ball game. Wichita State gets on the board first in the first with a bunch of good swings against Nathan Kroger.
Center fielder, Trent Habercorn.
Davis with 3 strikeouts in his first 2 innings of work. And he floats a changeup in there for a called strike. Davis, as we talked about, in his last 15 innings, all of them starts, had walked only 2. But he's also struck out 16. So it's not as if he's giving up a bunch of fly balls and ground balls. He's putting guys away. A good-looking 2-seam fastball that dots the outside edge, nothing in 2. First 15 outings this year out of the pen. Habercorn diving out after one, spoils it foul. Pitch that was not a strike. After that 3-inning outing against Tulane, we mentioned he also tossed 3 2/3 against UConn. That one got away from him, 1-2. And then made a start against Kansas back on the 18th. 5 scoreless innings, struck out 8. Habercorn last night, 2 out of 3. Scored a run, knocked in 1. And then Davis against Houston went 4, gave up just 1 run. And in the only game that Shockers won in Orlando, Davis was a starting pitcher. Didn't figure in the decision, but 6 innings, 4 runs, 3 earned. Tried to nip the inside corner and didn't miss by much. 3-2.
Had Habercorn set up for something in. He had worked him away after jumping ahead in the count. And Habercorn lucky to still be up there. Looked like the pitch may have missed just a bit in.
If you can put the ball between the inside chalk of the batter's box and the plate, I think he did it.
Close, but I think a ball upon further review.
And Troutwine had to reach for it just enough.
Habercorn doesn't always help his case because he is really diving out over the plate. And if you can spot a fastball in and a guy lunges like that, it doesn't present itself particularly well to the home plate umpire.
Habercorn on the season, third leading hitter on the team. And that one hit him.
That's what I'm talking about in terms of him diving out over the plate. Not that that wasn't going to hit him, but that's now 3 hit by pitch for Habercorn in this series already.
Well, that is 14 on the season. Been hit twice as often as the next best guy, if you want to categorize it as such. Leadoff man on there for the first time for the Bearcats.
I have to imagine this will be a bunting situation for Ramey. He squared around several different times last night.
Ramey has dropped down 2, and the reason Denning brings it up is not because he's an accomplished bunter, but rather that he's 2 for 22 this year. And strikes out a lot when he's gotten to play. Maybe a conflict of interest here for Tyler Davis, Denning, because you know he knows about Ramey. And even though he's trying to give Tyler Davis an out, you feel like you're a little bit stubborn that you don't want to sacrifice an out for 90 feet.
You can get into trouble, though, trying to strike somebody out who's willing to roll you a baseball for an out.
You're right.
I definitely fall into the camp of, here's the out, I'll take it.
Take it.
Let's move along.
You only get 27 of them. They're giving you one. Habercorn has 10 steals this year. Downside of getting thrown out in this situation is Ramey would be up there with 1 out, nobody on, and just the 2 hits all year. Habercorn started, then stopped, and Genesta makes the play. So an unproductive out is maybe Ramey got a little greedy there, Denning. Just try to get it down, and it looked like maybe he was torn between sacrifice and bunt for a hit.
I agree, and I'm not sure if he anticipated Genesta was going to be charging and was going to try and pop it over his head. But this definitely looked more like bunt for a hit than sacrifice. Look at the push here rather than trying to deaden it. And a fairly routine play for Genesta, who, of course, was holding Habercorn on.
Well, once his hand slides up the bat, you know Bohm's going to be breathing down his neck at third. So Ramey picked the right side of the diamond and just got under it. So 1 out. Kyle Motice, he tries to bunt his way on, and he bunts one over the screen.
I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Habercorn in motion now. Try and steal second, essentially have it act as the sacrifice. He'd be in the same spot with the same number of outs as if Ramey had gotten the job done. And then you'd have your leadoff hitter up there.
He had a room service ground ball to second his first time up there. Oh, and 2. Motice, the leading hitter on the club. That .314 average coming in. Only 2 regulars for the Bearcats are above 300 this year. This guy is one of them.
I mentioned this yesterday, but Motice had just kind of a bizarre junior season. He had really broke out as a sophomore, hit .278. Looked like he was going to continue on that track, and then last year hit just .191. But has figured it out in a big way so far in 2018. There's a couple guys like that on the Cincinnati roster who have kind of alternated good year, bad year, good year. Shows the variance that can take place over the course of a college baseball season, which is, of course, much shorter than a professional one.
Motai stays hot. That's his 4th hit of the series. So the first time that Tyler Davis has had to encounter more than one base runner in an inning. Habercorn stops at second and bring up Joey Thomas.
Just a short, quick swing from Motais. Gets the barrel to the baseball in short order. Not a whole lot of wasted motion, and really barrels it up. I was impressed with his swings last night. Showed the ability to go the opposite field, and today has struck a couple balls well to the right side.
Davis painted Joey Thomas first time he was up there. Swung late and shot foul toward the bleachers and beyond. 0-1. Joey Thomas, something of an Iron Man behind the plate. He's Cincinnati's version of Gunnar Troutwine, senior from Mason, Ohio. That one sails in there for a called strike.
And Gunnar Troutwine is jogging out right now to tell Tyler Davis, hey, keep an eye on that guy out at second base. Habercorn was getting a walking lead. There was a late flash in behind from Ritter just to try and keep him close, but if Habercorn had timed that just a little bit better, he's probably on the move to third base and would have stolen it easily.
Well, they swiped 4 last night, and they've shown a willingness to double steal and steal third.
They've got 2 of their best base stealers out there right now. Both guys in double figures already.
Davis way ahead in the count. Thomas wouldn't go fishing, 1-2.
Part of the thinking, too, I'm sure, is Thomas leads this club in terms of grounding into double plays. Catcher who doesn't run particularly well. He's bounced into 4 so far this season. So trying to stay out of the potential inning-ending twin killing.
Thomas had 274 combined at-bats his first 3 years at Cincinnati without a home run. He's hit 2 this year. And it's now 2-2. Davis has toyed with him the last couple of pitches. For the most part in his career, Thomas has been in there for his glove. 258 hitter a year ago and 51 starts. He did DH in the midweek against Miami. Went 1 out of 5.
He is a really good defensive catcher. Has a very strong throwing arm. Gunned out 3 potential base stealers this past weekend against Kansas. True catch and throw guy. And that alone can get you to the next level if you can do that enough. A lot of teams will accept a little bit of subpar hitting from their catchers if you can pick it defensively and call a good game.
Good pitch, but didn't get the call. 3-2. Maybe the first pitch that the home plate umpire Huseman hasn't given a pitcher, either Davis or Kroger. Probably off the plate, but it's been a pitch, it's been a strike at times today. Made a really good pitcher's pitch there, but Thomas spoiled it.
Yeah, that took guts. 3-2 breaking ball from Davis. And Thomas just did get a piece of it to stay alive. I thought that both runners would be in motion on this 3-2. Thomas is a guy who doesn't strike out a ton, so you can have a little bit of faith in terms of sending them, but this is a pretty important pitch as far as the outcome of this game goes just here in the 3rd inning.
3. Cincinnati gets a dose of their own medicine, and the top of the third comes to a close.
Become a part of history at Wichita State University by helping us complete X Stadium. A new 10,000 square foot performance facility will give our baseball, softball, tennis, and golf student athletes the strength and conditioning training space they need. Your tax-deductible gift will help us knock it out of the park. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shock the world.
So after 2.5, Shockers with a 1-0 lead. Top of the order to face Nathan Kroger, who I think overall, Denning, we would agree, didn't fool him any first time through, but a lot of the hard hits found a glove. He got a double play, a couple of lineouts to his right fielder, but I guess you'd feel like pretty good if you're a Shocker fan at the way Wichita State swung the bat, even though it's only 1-0.
I think you could argue 8 of the 9 hitters had really good swings, other than Trey Vickers with the foul pop-up that was squeezed by Thomas. Everybody else hit a ball well, and I think that's all you can ask for. Baseball is a game where you're not going to get rewarded for doing things right a lot of the time. You're going to have balls that are squared up right at guys, and if Wichita State can continue to produce solid swings, you like their chances in the long run.
Leading on to WSU third. Top of the order, second baseman, Luke Ritter.
Luke Ritter failed, if you want to call it that, in his bid to extend his hitting streak to 19 games. Saw one pitch and lined out to the right fielder, Ramey. Shockers in the first couple of innings attacked early and often. That's a big reason why Nathan Kroger's only thrown 24 pitches after 2, the same amount that Tyler Davis had thrown after his 2. And there it is, 19 in a row for Luke Ritter. Best hitting streak the Shockers have had in the last couple of years. Alec Boehm had an 18-gamer a year ago, and now Luke Ritter's hit it 19 straight.
He doesn't like waiting around, does he?
No, he doesn't.
2-0, got something center cut, shoots it right back up the middle. And Kroger's a guy who's going to challenge you even if you're in those hitters' counts. So a fastball there that was hittable, and Luke Ritter just white hot. The guy who's swinging the bat so well and swinging it with confidence.
And why tear everybody's guts up into knots and wait until the 7th inning to get it? That's no fun.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to have to wait around.
Nobody wants that. Young had a base hit his first time up there, stole a base, scored the game's only run. So four hits now for Wichita State. Throw in another base runner on Hunter Gibson's hard smash. It was ruled an error. Travis Young has his batting average up to 279 at the moment. Young, very athletic, very fast, but it didn't translate last year. He had a hard time making contact consistently. Hit 231 a year ago. And he was kind of in the same boat as Ritter. Luke only hit 223, so both those guys really got off the mat in a big way this year.
Travis has made several different adjustments to his stance this year in an effort to be a little shorter, a little quicker to the baseball. If you go back and you watch some film from him in years past, he's a lot more upright in the box. This year, slightly more hunched, all about barrel path, trying to get the barrel to the baseball efficiently.
keep the barrel in the hitting zone as long as possible. There's some baseball cliches for you, too. One and one. Leadoff man on there for the first time after a pair of line drives to the outfield in the previous 2 innings. Ritter and Jackson. Back pick to first. That is something that Thomas will do regardless of the base. He'll throw it around. Travis Young, in case you missed it last night, became the 12th different shocker to hit a home run. Home run leading off the 8th inning, broke up the shutout. Showed his power by driving it out basically to the opposite field, deep right center. Little cue shot back to the pitcher, and that's going to be another double play. 6 double plays turned by Cincinnati in the first game plus 3 innings.
Starting to get a little silly with all these double plays, and even if Kroger doesn't catch this might still be a double play. It was going to lead Bremner or whoever fielded it right to the second base bag. The only chance would have been for Travis Young to beat out the return throw, but good reflexes out there on the bump, was in a good fielding position, and turned it into 2.
Here's Alec Boehm, RBI single, his first time up there. Hit it well to the opposite field with Young at second base and 1 out in the first. Thomas over for a look, but it's 4 rows in.
That's another Chick-fil-A foul ball.
Finale of the series tomorrow morning. If it's not on your original schedule or you slipped your mind, 10:30 a.m. First pitch tomorrow here on WSUTV at X Stadium. Boehm just missed one. And this one, a little bit of trouble. Haberkorn shading the eyes with his bare hands. And the Shockers are turned away in the 3rd.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Third of the way through here at X Stadium, middle game of a 3-game series. Shane Dennis, Denning Garrick here at X Stadium. Really nice day for a sunburn. You're out there on the hill, be careful. Bright, sunshiny day, temperature at game time in the low 80s. 83 at the moment with very little breeze.
All these newfangled baseball stats, OBP, ERA, SPF, I think the most important on a day like today.
It is today. Maybe for the first time all year. 3, 4, and 5 in the order for Cincinnati. Connor McVeigh to lead it off. Speaking of the sun, Connor McVeigh hit one almost to it and in it. But Luke Ritter, the second baseman, had the better angle and gathered in his high pop-up in the first. 1-0 breaking ball finds the strike zone. Alec Boehm and Trey Vickers both really having a devil of the time with Sun and Ritter bailed them both out to end the first. Davis routinely getting ahead of hitters. And that is, some would say, more than half the battle when it comes to pitching.
Well, it opens things up for sure. We saw Cody Hoyer last night consistently in positions where he was having to throw one pitch. 2-0 count, 3-1 count. You're not going to throw anything other than a fastball, and good teams are going to make you pay for it.
3-2. And unless you're a Tom Glavine type where you have a really good changeup and you got the courage to throw it, not that Cody Hoyer doesn't have the courage to throw it, but frankly, that's his third best pitch, and he's not going to throw it. Right off his knuckles, it's still 3-2. But to your point, you've got to be able to throw something besides a fastball for a called strike when it's 2-0 or 3-1, or you're going to get knocked around.
Yep. Or just don't get to 2-0 or 3-1.
Yep.
Ouch.
Pretty good battle brewing with Tyler Davis and Connor McVeigh. McVeigh pounded it right off of his foot or ankle. Habercorn was hit by a pitch to start last inning, and Davis trying to make McVeigh earn it here in this inning. Oh, right off his shin bone. You could have all the guards you want on your front foot, but I don't think one would be that big. See if Davis goes right back in there. He didn't, but put him away, and maybe that's for the best for Connor McVeigh's. Got a throbbing front leg as he kind of limps back to the dugout.
Not quite sure what this was from Tyler Davis, to be honest with you. 85 miles an hour. It looked like he just took a little off of his two-seam fastball or something.
That had change-up action on it, but went 85 miles an hour, so good for him.
Throw that again.
Yeah.
We come up with these names for pitches, and it's like they have to fit into this little box. Of, okay, it's a slider, so it's got to go 84 to 87 miles an hour and has to move like this. And it's like every guy throws different pitches different ways. Everyone's coming from a different arm slot. Maybe you're gripping the ball slightly differently. The spin rate can be different. So every pitch is going to move in different ways. We just try and put these labels on it to make it easier to classify.
And to convince ourselves that we know what pitches look like. That last pitch didn't look like really anything when you had the radar gun. And I will say this, to piggyback on what you're talking about, Denning, it would appear that Tyler Davis is very comfortable with adding and subtracting off of pitches. That was probably a straight changeup right there at 80. But the point is, as a freshman, sometimes you're convinced that every fastball needs to be thrown like your hair's on fire. Every breaking ball needs to be thrown like you're trying to get into the Hall of Fame. And the truth of the matter is sometimes less is more. Sometimes you can just ease one in there for a called strike, and sometimes you can flip a breaking ball in there for a called strike. There's no law against it, and you will get away with it most of the time. Hard to convince yourself that when you're 18 years old.
Mentality thing. And it's a matter of being comfortable with your own arsenal, I think.
Yep. That one plunks Weimer. That's the second time that Tyler Davis has hit a batter. Comes with one out here in the fourth.
I think every pitcher, just kind of playing off of what you said, needs to get to a point with their repertoire where they're comfortable enough with each pitch before they start kind of trying to experiment with adding and subtracting a little bit. I mean, and I think Cody Hoyer is an excellent example of that, where is he at a point where he can throw maybe two different types of sliders, like a swing and miss slider and a get me over slider. Is he at a point where he can add and subtract a little bit from his fastball? I'm not really sure. That's probably a question better asked to him, but it's an example of get to step one before you start trying to toy with the repertoire a little bit.
Good pitch to Cole Murphy. Strikeout victim his first time up there. Murphy will strike out a lot, and it's fairly evident Tyler Davis need not throw another pitch in the strike zone in order to get Cole Murphy out. We'll see if he does. Murphy, big dude up there from the left side. Strike three called. May or may not have been a strike, but you talk about a pitcher's pitch. Murphy didn't put up much of a fight. That's now 3 strikeouts looking for Tyler Davis.
And this is all Gunnar Troutwine, really. Presents this ball very well. Kind of caught this in the middle of his chest protector and just worked it back to his inner leg. Presented it very nicely for home plate umpire Mark Huseman.
Now, we should point out that our center field camera, and maybe you can tell a little bit, it's just a little offset. And while that called third strike looked like it was off the plate, could have, if you're straight on in center field, could have been able to tell that maybe chipped off a outer edge part of the plate. Perfectly thrown, regardless. And I think that's a big reason why Cole Murphy didn't squawk. So that's now 5 strikeouts for Tyler Davis. He struck out 5 in 6 innings last weekend against Central Florida. Santiago got a base hit his first time up there. Oh, and 2. Weimer dancing around at first, not going. Fastball wanders off the plate, 1-2.
From the batter's box to first base, Joey Weimer is just a perpetual motion machine. He's got all the hands and the leg kick when he's in there from the right side, and a 2-step class over at first base.
And I'm not sure, and he almost got caught in between steps. I was getting ready to say, I'm not sure to have the guts to dance around over there at first base. You get both your feet off the ground at the same time as Tyler Davis wheeling and throwing.
Hard to plant the guy back.
You got
when
problems.
You're in the air.
Yep.
He has gotten Tyler Davis's attention, to be sure. Wouldn't be a horrible situation to run on, and Weimer 7 of 9 in steals this year with 2 outs and 2 strikes.
Quite a few of these guys accomplished base stealers. They've got 60 as a team.
Good job, Gunny.
Jockers in the bottom of the 4th. We'll have Troutwine, Genesta, and Jackson due up against Nathan Kroger. Lone run of the game came in the first. 3 consecutive singles after one was out. Young, Bohm, and Troutwine with base hits. Runner goes, pitch is high, and Troutwine's throw is high. And Young didn't quite throw out Weimer trying to go to third. You talk about a slow break from second base. That'll be a stolen base E2, but I don't know if Travis Young was convinced that Weimer wasn't going anywhere, and he just kind of nonchalantly scooped it up and then flat-footed threw it to third.
Yeah, Travis out in center field is just not anticipating that Weimer's getting up and going to third base because he does not run through the baseball. We're not going to get a great look at it there, but came to a complete stop, fielded it like an infielder would.
And Bohm did all he could to deke the runner, and sure enough, the way this series is going, that turns into a run. Santiago hooks one into left field, and we're tied. So the fact that Wichita State assumed that Weimer would park it at second base, it cost Wichita State a run. If he's there, even with 2 outs, I'm not sure he tries to score on Santiago's hit to left, although Jackson was playing fairly deep. So Santiago's 2 out of 2, and we're all square at 1. Peeling back towards Jackson, that's the inning, but Cincinnati ties it up as we head to the bottom of the 4th.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
More Cincinnati double plays in the first 3 Shocker at bats has helped keep this a 1-1 game. Second look at Nathan Kroger, second time through the order anyway. Gunnar Troutwine to lead it off. He had a sharp single to left his first time. RBI single for Alec Bohm. Shocker scored in the first. And the last half inning, a hit by pitch, stolen base, error, and a 2-out RBI single has knotted the game at 1. And I would say, Denning, that Wichita State came out with pretty good focus, pretty good sharpness in the first third of the game and trying to atone for that 8-2 loss last night. But here we are, and just a little nonchalance or a little assumption, maybe, has allowed Cincinnati to tie the game.
Hard to maintain the level of focus that is required for 9 innings. And sometimes in a game that can last upwards of 3 hours, you got to stay locked in for a long time.
Ramey got turned around, never got a great read on it, and turns this one into a Troutwine leadoff double. Gunnar hit it well, but Ramey couldn't decide which avenue to take to the track, and backpedaling probably will not do the trick on a bullet off the bat of Gunnar Troutwine. He's 2 for 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Ramey was going to get to this anyway. This was touched off the bat of Troutwine. He does a great job taking a fastball out away from him and just driving it to right field. That is something where, when Troutwine came into this program, that was something that stood out to this coaching staff, was not only his natural strength, but the way in which he let the ball travel and would hit it to right field. And as he has kind of developed over the course of his career here at Wichita State, he's become more of a pull-side hitter, but still has that in the reserve.
9 doubles now for Troutwine. First extra base hit of the day for Wichita State. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know that Ramey, even if he turns and sprints toward the wall, makes that catch. Genesta grounded into a 6-3 double play his first time up there. Grayson has been getting his hits here and there in the league, staying out of prolonged slumps, but hasn't gone on the real tear that you're accustomed to seeing a polished hitter like him go on. And Kroger needles the outside corner. It's 1-2. Hitting only .246 in American play with no home runs in 62 at-bats in the conference. And a ringing single into center field. Sammy Esposito puts up the stop sign, and Troutwine is going to be fortunate to get back to third and heads up base running by Genesta as the throw from Habercorn missed the cutoff man. So second and third, nobody out.
Kind of a weird play all the way around here. Troutwine, for one thing, got a very good jump off to second base, and this was a rather late stop sign from Esposito in the third base coach's box. As we get a look at the replay here, initially I felt like Gunnar had an excellent chance to score, and he almost ran through this stop sign. The throw being offline and up the line, it would have been close. And then, as you mentioned, on the backside of it, that's a very good job by Genesta, not anticipating anything, running hard the whole way, and two in scoring position with nobody out.
Well, the way the first game and a half had gone in this series, you had almost expected Thomas to pick that throw and then get Troutwine trying to get back to third, but the Shockers actually finally caught a break. And I don't know what part of Sammy Esposito's stop sign that Troutwine had a problem deciphering, but he was halfway home before he slammed on the brakes and headed back to third, but it worked out.
And a guy like Troutwine requires the emergency brake to get all that muscle mass slowed down.
You're saying he's kind of like a semi when it comes to braking? He's not just going to immediately stop?
Well, that was the problem. If we could get a look at that replay one more time, is that Troutwine's eyes are not on his third base coach. He is watching Genesta and watching the play behind him on the right field side of things. And so that is why he picked it up late. And Wichita State fortunate to be in the situation they are.
All right, so second and third, nobody out. Golden scoring opportunity for the Shockers trying to retake the lead. Just foul. Jackson gets a redeemer here.
Here's a look at what I was talking about. Look at where Troutwine's head position is at as he rounds third base here. He is not picking up his third base coach, and then right there sees him about a third of the way down the line, slams on the brakes, and the Cincinnati dugout, sensing a potential out, doesn't quite get it.
You youngsters out there, don't watch the trail runner while you're running around third base.
There are more important things happening.
One major important thing, your third base coach. So now Jackson is deep in the hole, 0-2. Hit it sharply his first time up there. Hit a bullet to Ramey, the right fielder. And had a pretty good day at the plate in game one. 1 out of 3 with a walk. Cincinnati's infield was conceding a run here. And Jackson pokes one to the left side on 0-2. A pitch made way too good, and credit Alex Jackson. A little seeing eye single that he punches into left field, scoring Troutwine. Shockers retake the lead immediately.
And Kroger's problems with 0-2 pitches rear their ugly head once again. He had this issue back in the first inning when Wichita State got 2 base hits with 2 strikes. And this time a pitch that was maybe off the plate, but still far too good for Jackson on 0-2, and does exactly what you're supposed to do. Just goes with it, shoots it through a vacated left side.
7 runs batted in now for Alex. So runners at the corner, still nobody out. And this might do it for Nathan Kroger. In fact, it will do it. We had a visit earlier this inning, did we not?
We did.
You only get 2. And Nathan Kroger is not going to survive the 4th inning. So the Shockers got good swings against him in the 1st and the 4th. And the 4th is not with Nathan Kroger.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new student-athlete success center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Nathan Kroger went 3 plus 3 batters, and now the game belongs to A.J. Coleman, who is 6'8" and 226, a junior from Powell, Ohio.
Funny you should mention 6'8", as Cincinnati, according to their media guide, has on average the tallest pitching staff in the entire country. Their average height for one of their pitchers is 6'4.5".
Coleman is from Powell, Ohio. He pitched against Kansas back on the 27th. 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. What we're going to find out now here, starting with Coleman and the rest of the series, none of these Bearcats pitchers really have the high-end velocity, so most, if not all, are going to depend on their defense and pitching to contact.
And that really follows the formula laid out by Perez last night and Kroger here in the early going. Guys who are going to be around the strike zone with fastballs that aren't going to touch 90 miles an hour very often. But Coleman has been kind of the long man out of this Bearcats bullpen. He's gone at least 3 innings out of the pen 5 different times this year in addition to 2 starts. So capable of eating up some innings here.
And it should be pointed out also that Cincinnati is without David Orndorff, who pitched 9 times this year, 8 out of the bullpen. He's got an arm injury. He's done for the year. Doug Lowe, who has a 1.5 ERA and 12 innings out of the bullpen, also not available. And again, this is not a big-time swing and a miss bullpen, and they rely heavily on their starters, as we saw with J.T. Perez last night pitching into the 8th inning. Gibson's job here is to hit 1 in the air. Runners at the corners, nobody out, 1 in. Shockers answering the Bearcat run in the top of the inning with a double, a single, and an RBI single from Jackson, who just drew a throw over there at first base. And a bullet into right field for a base hit. 4 straight hits for the Shockers here in the 4th. 3-1. They didn't hit it in the air, Denning, but he hit it hard to the pull side.
That'll work just as well when you can find a hole. 2 good swings for Hunter Gibson today. He's been on base twice, and of course with the first baseman Santiago holding the runner on, there's a lot of room over there, and good job by Wichita State to bounce back after allowing that run in the top half of this inning.
So now here's Vickers, and while you and I both share the same opinion of the sacrifice bunt, you're looking at one of the best, if not the best, in program history. And sure enough, Trey shortens up. 1 more sacrifice bunt, and he will be all alone in the Shocker record book for sacrifice bunts. This would be 22 if he lays it down.
The anticipation is killing me.
It's palpable, too. Kevin Hall, 21 sacrifice bunts from 08 to 2012. Trey Vickers, 21 from 2015 till now. Travis Young, by the way, is also on that list. He's got 14.
And Trey, in addition to being a very good bunter, is a guy who's just trying to find a way to contribute offensively. The way that he's been scuffling a little bit up there as of late. 10 for 55 now in his last 14-plus games. And if you can help the team out, make a productive out, it's still doing a job.
Fake bunt, swing to hit, and that might turn into 3. A 5-4-3 triple play thrown by A.J. Coleman. An around the horn triple play ends the fourth.
Become a part of history at Wichita State University by helping us complete X Stadium. A new 10,000 square foot performance facility will give our baseball, softball, tennis, and golf student athletes the strength and conditioning training space they need. Your tax-deductible gift will help us knock it out of the park. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shock the world.
Well, there are a lot of things that would be defined as a rally killer, but I think triple play is probably at the top of the list. Shockers went double, single, single, single in the fourth, and then Trey Vickers, who was up there squared around to bunt, was told to pull the bat back and slash, and unfortunately McVeigh to Motice to Santiago, Wichita State hits into a triple play. They turned one against Valpo last year, and Vickers hits into one here today. He has now bounced into two double plays and a triple play. Gibson on his horse runs it down in right center field. One pitch and one out as Tyler Davis gets Habercorn.
As a hitter, when you're given that sign, that the slash, as you called it, job one is just don't hit the ball in the air. And Vickers did a good job of that. Hit the ball fairly sharply on the ground. The difference was that McVeigh, who on the previous pitches had really been charging, like right down Vickers' throat, changed it up and didn't come all the way in, stayed about even with the third base bag. And so that ground ball right to him turned it into, and I can't believe I'm saying this, a fairly routine triple play, is at least the execution of it.
Jordan Ramey tried to bunt his last time up there and kind of hit a limp line drive to the first baseman, Grayson Genesta. So Tyler Davis, even with the triple play, has been spotted his first two-run lead as the Shockers countered the Bearcats one in the fourth with three of their own. Three and one to the light-hitting Jordan Ramey. And the slightly built 5'6", 146 from Moeller High School in Cincinnati. Is he the epitome of, let's see how far you can hit it on 3 and 2?
Yes.
2 for 23 this year.
Probably ball four, but
probably
not a bad pitch. Got in on him. I just can't imagine how that feels being Jordan Ramey, having to walk around the clubhouse with a pitching staff that averages almost 6'5".
That's right. Looky what I found. Tyler Davis, 2 outs here in the fifth. Yeah, I would think the pitching staff could probably bench press him if they wanted to get a little workout in.
High fives to A.J. Coleman become a real endeavor.
Cruel is what that is.
Yeah.
So the Shockers knock out Kroger after 3+ innings. And Davis cruising right along.
Knocked him out after 43 pitches.
Yeah, they didn't mess around. Mo Tice is 1 out of 2.
Cody Hoyer was out after 77 last night.
If Vickers can negotiate the sun, that'll be the second 1-2-3 inning turned in by Tyler Davis and a shutdown inning as we're halfway through game 2.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Nine, 1-2 in the order for Wichita State as they come to bat here in the home half of the 5th. So, Cincinnati in the series in the first game and a half has turned 6 double plays and a triple play so far. Double plays in the first and the third, and an around the horn 5-4-3 triple play to end the 4th. However, with all that being said, Denning Gehrig, the way the Shockers have swung the bat through the first half of this game is exactly how you would want them to approach a game after they got beat 8-2 last night.
The thing about double plays and I guess triple plays is that it means you have a bunch of base runners. And Wichita State has swung the bats really well this afternoon. 8 hits through 4 innings, nothing to complain about. A lot of balls hit hard. Occasionally those are going to find fielders, and with runners on, more times than not, it's going to be 2.
Ross Cadena, in his first start ever as DH, hit one pretty well to center field, but was out to end the second. So it'll be Cadena and then back to the top of the order for the third time through. They'll be facing A.J. Coleman for the first time. So hindsight being 2020, you probably would have hoped that Trey
bunts.
Vickers would have been the
I'm a big fan of them.
#1 sacrifice bunter ever. Cadena puts a charge in one to left. Weimer right there. So Ross has swung the bat well. And the atom balls continue for Wichita State. It's been an effort in not futility necessarily, but frustration really for the Shockers today and last night for different reasons. They didn't put much together at all through the first 6 innings last night, and they've come out with their hitting shoes on today, but only 3 runs to show for it through the first 4 1/3.
And Ross Cadena, who had 1 at-bat since April 6th, has not waited around. He's seen just 3 pitches and put 2 really good swings together. Just nothing to show for it so far. That's hard to do. A lot of time on the bench, easy to get rusty.
Luke Ritter extended his career best hitting streak to 19 games with a clean single to center to lead off the 3rd. Luke Ritter was 2 for his first 25. And on March 11th was 8 for 49. That's 163. And Coleman makes quick work of him here in the 5th.
That breaking ball from a 6'8" right-hander looks like it's fallen off a building. Big time downward action in addition to sweeping away from right-handed hitters. And with how hot Ritter has been, it's hard to make him look this bad. He was well out in front of this breaking ball, and that is not an easy pitch to contend with.
Pretty well executed. 2 away, first strikeout for Coleman. First strikeout of the game for Cincinnati pitching. Young is singled, stolen a base, scored, and hit a little liner back to the pitcher that turned into, what else? Double play. Shockers about to hit Cincinnati 8-3. Owl. Again, I mentioned earlier, in case you haven't written it down and you want to follow tomorrow's game, it's at 10:30 here on WSUTV. The next 2 Sunday games here at the ECK will be at 10:30 to accommodate travel for Cincinnati this weekend and South Florida next Sunday. A.J. Coleman will give up some extra base hits. 13 of his 33 have been for extra bases. But as Denning mentioned, it's kind of a daunting task for right-hand batters, looking up the side of a mountain. A.J. Coleman. And he makes the Shockers look about as bad as they have at any point today here in the 5th.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
More times than not this afternoon, Tyler Davis has made pitching look pretty easy. A couple of 1-2-3 innings, really only been one threat, and Shockers gave Cincinnati a little help in it. It was the 4th inning. Be facing 2, 3, and 4 in the Bearcat order as we head to the 6th, and Tyler Davis has turned out to be, over the last month, Denning, no joke.
Well, I think Wichita State and Mike Steele very happy that he has emerged when he has, because some other members of this weekend rotation have started to fall off just a bit over the last several weeks, and how critical it has been for Tyler Davis to step up and provide a couple of really nice starts, including today. Now at 80 pitches, that'll be something to monitor as we make our way into the 6th inning. Of course, he'll be going through this lineup for the 3rd time.
Thomas 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a double play. Twice in his 3 starts, Tyler Davis has established a season high in innings. 5 against Kansas on April 18th, 6 last weekend against UCF. 2-0. Shockers 1 in the 1st. Cincinnati, its lone run in the 4th. Shockers answered with 2 more in the bottom of the 4th. Shallow center, and Young gathers it in. 1 out.
Big first out to get for Davis. Even though Thomas just a .262 hitter overall, he's hitting .389 leading off innings this year. And for Tyler to get that big first out, ever important as you make your way into the middle part of this Cincinnati order. These are 3 righties who Davis needs to take care of.
5 out of the 6 leadoff men have been retired by Tyler. McVeigh, nothing out of 2. A pop up on a strikeout. Told you earlier that the final game of the series will be tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. It'll be Cam Aldred, a lefty for Cincinnati, against likely Preston Snavely.
It's when you know you have a hitter guessing, when he's putting a check swing on a called strike fastball. So now Davis can go to just about anything ahead 0-2.
Thrown hard but outside and a little high. Not a bad 0-2. And Davis stayed away on the last 3 pitches, and the third one McVeigh dove out after and spanked into center field. So apparently Mike Steele and Gunnar Troutline convinced that they were going to get McVeigh out away, but a good adjustment by the third baseman.
Not a terrible pitch. Maybe elevated just a bit, but like you mentioned, out away and on the outside part of the plate. McVeigh has proven throughout this series to be a very good hitter. That average of 275 entering play today doesn't tell the whole story. He is a tough out, puts together very good at-bats, and now it's up to Davis to buckle down and get Weimer.
Weimer 0 for 1 officially. A little bat handle roller, not a double play ball. Bohm's only played at first. So 2 down. Another early out for Tyler Davis. Now Cole Murphy. Murphy struck out twice. Once swinging, once looking. He's now 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts in the series. Murphy can hit a mistake a long way, but you'll also be able to feel the breeze most of the time when he swings. Murphy bringing a 185 average to the plate at the moment. He is now 4 for 40 with 20 strikeouts in conference play.
A guy where if you execute your pitches, 1 or 2 even, you're probably in a good position to get him out.
Four hits in 40 at-bats in American play. A double and 2 home runs among them.
Doesn't really fit into this lineup as far as the rest of it is composed. There aren't many other guys like this. Most of the other ones are bat-to-ball skills guys, don't strike out a whole lot. Typically will grind you a little bit, and then Murphy is essentially all or nothing. Now, I know a big power threat in Manny Rodriguez is out of there, so that changes the complexion of the lineup quite a bit.
And he'll strike out a lot, but he'll also give you 9 home runs.
Other than that, the 8 guys in there today, not really similar to Cole Murphy.
Tyler Davis makes his way through 6 innings for the second consecutive outing.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new Student-Athlete Success Center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Alec Boehm to start the Shocker sixth. Teeth of the order facing A.J. Coleman. Coleman has faced 4 and gotten 6 outs. Boehm RBI single in the first and just got under a breaking ball from Nathan Kroger to make the final out of the third. Shane Dennis and Denning Garrick here on WSUTV. Shockers trying to level the series at 1 game apiece. All Bearcats last night, 8-2. Cincinnati 9-7 in the league. And Wichita State dropped to 5-11. They are 3 clear of Memphis in the standings with the series against the Tigers still to play. Still enough games left in the American, Denning, that if Shockers can flip the switch, as they say, they can end up in a decent spot in the league in their first year in the American.
Well, it's got to start today, and Wichita State has known for a while that their back's going to be up against the wall with these last several series. It really helps that that last one is against Memphis, but we know that the struggles that the Shocker team has had on the road, so you'd prefer that that series not mean a whole lot in terms of potentially slipping into last place. That is something Wichita State can just take care of business here at home.
Boehm shoots one into right field. Leadoff man is on there again. Alec is 2 out of 3. Coleman made a decent pitch, but Alec Boehm just muscled it into right field. So leadoff man on there again.
Yeah, not rifled the way his RBI single was back in the first, but still, you love the approach. This is a fastball, I think, kind of in on him just a little bit. Kind of inside outs it into right field, and something that we had talked about a little bit yesterday is how teams have shifted him to the opposite field but worked him in with fastballs, and typically he's a guy who will lay off a pitch like that, but this time shows the ability to go and get it.
Troutwine hits in each plate appearance. First inning single, 4th inning double. Boehm goes, and the hit and run was on. If memory serves, I think the exact same thing happened in the first inning.
You are correct, yeah. Boehm has pretty good speed. 7 of 9 in stolen bases. Really good speed once he gets going. As a bigger guy, it takes him a little while to get revved up, but he has long legs and long strides and can cover some ground once he gets moving.
Speaking of long, that's a long delivery from a big guy, A.J. Coleman. High leg kick. Shockers with 9 hits today. They had 9 all of last night. Troutwine, as I mentioned, 2 out of 2. He was only 6 for his last 36 in conference games. So that's got to feel good. 1-1 to the Shocker catcher. Got his average up above 300 with those 2 hits today.
Coleman not much for a slide step, is he?
Nope. At 6'8", that would be asking a lot. Posting base stealers are 3 for 3 against him this year. There goes Boehm. And he is going to be out by a lot.
And
I don't know if that was
swung.
a busted hit and run or a hit and run that Gunnar kind of lost his focus for a second. It is 2-2. Yeah, you are correct. He did offer at that pitch, and it may have been after the ball was already in the glove.
It was. Watch how late the swing is here from Troutwine, just trying to protect the runner.
Yeah, Boehm looked back, so you knew it was the hit and run. And that did not end well. So, on one hand, I think, and I don't know if this is still a prevailing thought, that if you're the hitter and you think the ball is going to bounce on a hit and run, you don't necessarily have to waste a swing because that's just as good as a swing to protect. But that's what that looked like, that Troutwine was hoping that it would bounce. It didn't. And then that was a total afterthought of a swing. And Bohm had no protection and was out by a bunch. So really, the Shockers just gave the Bearcats 2 outs right there in a series of 2 pitches. By the way, how long after the ball's in the glove do you have to wait before you can take a practice swing? You could kind of play that off like, hey, I was just, right? No? Are you with me?
I suppose, yeah, I hear you.
And the ball clearly was in the glove, but that didn't work.
I feel like all you're doing there as a hitter with that afterthought of a swing is setting yourself up to potentially get hitter's interference. I mean, Thomas is a good enough defensive catcher. He's not going to get distracted by a swing like that. And pitches low, you're going to be in a 3-1 count. But I feel like maybe as a hitter, there's an obligation just to put a swing on it if there's a hit and run.
Well, if you blow it, you blow it. I mean, why complicate things?
Why compound the error?
Yeah. Give yourself up for a free strike for the other guys. Two borderline pitches goes Genista's way. Still waiting for that breakout game for Wichita State in the American, offensively anyway. It's been a while. Genista draws a 2-out walk to keep it going for Alex Jackson.
That is now 40 walks on the season for Grayson Genista. Even with the hits being a little bit scattered over the last several weeks, his on-base percentage still very healthy, up over 440 now. And that is a skill that is really going to translate whenever he does make it to the professional ranks. The ability to get on base, draw free passes, and showcase his impressive plate discipline.
Jackson, a couple of good swings again today. Line to right. And a seeing eye single to left. And that's going to be easy for Santiago. So a leadoff single and then a busted hit and run. Cut short Wichita State 6th.
Become a part of history at Wichita State University by helping us complete X Stadium. A new 10,000 square foot performance facility will give our baseball, softball, tennis, and golf student athletes the strength and conditioning training space they need. Your tax-deductible gift will help us knock it out of the park. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shock the world.
Well, Tyler Davis delivers for the 4th consecutive time for Wichita State, the last 3 coming in conference play. Shocker freshman, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 5 strikeouts, 91 pitches, 59 of them for strikes. And he's got them dancing in the aisles as the Shockers lead it tenuously, but leading nonetheless as we head to the 7th inning. 3-1 Shockers, and Cody Tyler takes over, Denny.
Can't say enough about Tyler Davis. The no walks is what really jumps out to me, just the 1 unearned run. And got to feel like if Wichita State ends up doing something with this season as far as advancing to the postseason, his emergence in this weekend rotation will be one of the biggest reasons why. He has been a life preserver for a starting staff that has scuffled a bit over the last several conference weekends.
Well, and here's the old man of the program, redshirt senior Cody Tyler, who's really, to this point, Denning, saving his best for last. He's been excellent. There you see the strikeout to walk numbers, strikeout to innings pitch numbers, both very good. He's gone 3 consecutive outings without giving up a run, and 4 of his last 5 So he will get Eric Santiago and then a couple of left-hand batters here in the 7th.
Basically one bad outing for Cody Tyler this season. That was the UConn game here at X Stadium. Other than that, he has been outstanding out of the Shocker pen, capable of getting out not just lefties but also righties. He'll start it with Santiago from the right side, then 2 southpaws to follow as he tries to hand it over to the back end of the Wichita State pen.
3 of the next 5 due up in the order are left-handed. But as we've seen, Denning, when he's going good, he can get the right-handers out just as effectively.
It's because he can throw that fastball to what is the inside part of the plate to righties and the outside part of the plate to lefties. And with the angle that he pitches from off the extreme first base side of the rubber, when he executes that pitch, that right there is all you can do with it.
2 straight by Santiago, chopped foul. Three 9-1 for the Shockers, 1-4-1 for Cincinnati. A mistake on 0-2, and Young can't run it down. Santiago is 3 out of 3, and he was certainly in swing mode in that at bat. Only the second time Bearcats put the leadoff man aboard.
Looks like Troutwine wanted this up, and it just didn't get up enough. Stayed maybe slightly above belt level, and Santiago on 0-2, of course, just kind of in react mode. Saw something straight, saw something out over the plate, and put a very good swing on it. He continues his productive series, now 5 hits, 7 trips.
Dondre Bremner has tapped back to the mound and flied to left. It's been a month since Cody Tyler has walked anybody, so Bremner triggered on that 2-0, figuring Tyler wouldn't throw too many out of the zone.
Fairly safe bet. These are the guys Cody needs to get, though. Bremner and Haberkorn down in the 7 and 8 spots. That's why he's in the ball game right now.
Little let up, got it past him, 2-2. Bremner is now 6 out of 32 in conference play. That's just a touch below 200. Haberkorn, Weimer, Murphy, all those guys below the Mendoza line inside the conference. Haberkorn waiting next. And Cody Tyler comes back to erase Dondre Bremner. Strikeout number 6 for Shocker pitching today.
Really good sequence after falling behind 2-0. And this is an excellent pitch. Moving away from the bat of the left-hand hitting Bremner. Ends up not being a strike, but it looks like one for virtually the entire way towards home plate.
And he doesn't throw too many of those, but that was a beauty. Normally he's fastball outer half, but he took a little off and broke it off the table. Good start to Haberkorn, who's been hit by a pitch and flied to right.
This will be an interesting little matchup with the way that Haberkorn dives out over the plate and the way that Tyler tries to throw fastballs away. Going to be some cat and mouse involved, I think.
That was more in on him. So good call. Vickers makes a late call. Speaking of calls, he makes a basket catch, 2 away. I don't know if it was meant to be middle in, but it was effective. Now Ramey with 2 away.
I'm not sure it was supposed to be in. Looked like Troutwine was sliding out to the outer third. But
Missed his spot perfectly.
Yep. Tyler gets away with it, and Vickers ends up having to make it a basket catch with the late call off of Bohm.
Ramey has twice made out on the infield. A bunt that was caught by Genesta. And a comebacker that was flagged by Tyler Davis. If you don't think that this is Gunnar Troutwine's pitching staff, then you're sadly mistaken. He really takes ownership of it. We've seen it a couple times today. One with a young guy, one with an old guy.
He wears out a path from
He does.
home plate to the mound, and will do it pretty frequently on 1-0, 2-0 counts. If he doesn't think that you're locked in, doing everything you can to get back into a count, he'll go out and let you know.
Cody Tyler works around a leadoff single in the 7th.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Stretch time here at the ballpark. Shane and Denning with you here in the middle game of a 3-game series. Shockers trying to even it up at 1 apiece after Cincinnati claimed the opener. Here's the standings. Houston and UCF, a big series that was rained out last night, so they'll play 2 today. Memphis was defeated by UConn. There you see the Huskies comfortably in second place, keeping Memphis 3 back of Wichita State. Shockers next weekend will take on South Florida and then wrap up the conference season at Memphis.
In that UCF Houston series, of course, you mentioned doubleheader today. The Knights out to a 2-1 lead. That's in the 6th inning of game 1. Every other game getting ready for first pitch pretty much right now, 4 o'clock. The start time for Tulane, ECU, and also Memphis and UConn.
That Memphis-UConn game was moved back a little bit due to expected weather. It's supposed to start earlier. So everybody, it would appear, but us, having to deal with some weather. Home plate umpire Mark Huseman is signaling that it is 1-0. So Hunter Gibson probably doesn't understand why, but is saying thank you. Huseman alerting everybody repeatedly that it is 1 ball and no strikes. Your thoughts?
No
1-1.
comment. No comment.
Well, it used to be that if you went to your mouth on the mound and didn't wipe it off, that was an automatic ball if nobody was on and a balk. But nobody ever calls that anymore.
I've never seen it called. I'm aware of the rule.
Yep.
I've just never seen an umpire actually be very cognizant of calling that. I have no idea. Got no theories.
2-2.
That's all it could be, right? There's no,
Yes.
no pitch clock or anything like that.
Well, I'm dating myself a little bit here, but I'll maybe try to circle back and make some sense of it. There was a time where, way back, you could not go to your mouth on the mound unless it was cold, and it was agreed upon by the umpire to tell both teams, yes, it's okay for you to blow into your hand if it's cold. Leadoff walk for Hunter Gibson. Then, and depending on the level, either pro or college, it was kind of relaxed. At the college level, you were allowed to go to your mouth, but if you wiped it on your pants, that was okay on the dirt. If you wanted to go to your mouth without penalty, walk off the dirt, lick your fingers, whatever you got to do, then go back onto the dirt, everything's copacetic. And throughout the last probably 10 years, that rule had pretty much gone by the boards all together. You see guys going to their mouths all the time on the mound. And normally, to wrap this up, Mark Huseman would say to A.J. Coleman, hey, that's a warning. Wipe it off next time if you're on the hill. And there's the record for Trey Vickers, who has now got 22 sacrifices in his career.
He almost didn't get the record because he almost had himself a base hit. That's a heck of a bunt. Pushed it just past Coleman, who, as you can imagine, for a 6'8" gentleman, does not get off the mound particularly well. And it took a very good play from Mo Tice to charge in, field this baseball, and get rid of it quickly. But that's doing a job. Well done from Trey Vickers.
And he made Mo Tice make kind of an acrobatic throw across his body and had to be accurate with it. So here we go. Insurance run at second base. Ross Cadena, who has swung the bat well. Nothing to show for it so far.
Getting back to what you were saying, I don't suppose you've followed any of the disputes about foreign substances for pitchers on Twitter or around Major League Baseball lately?
A little pine tar action. Yep. Into left field it goes. Cadena, 1 out of 3. They're going to send Gibson. And the throw is offline. Ross Cadena, in his first start at DH, has given the Shockers a 4-1 lead.
He's had good swings all afternoon and hadn't been rewarded for it. A couple of well-struck balls to the outfield in the second and fifth innings, and this time off the cap, but it doesn't matter. There's plenty of room on that left side of the infield. He sneaks it between McVeigh and Bremner and gives Wichita State a big insurance run.
And it should be pointed out, too, that Ross Cadena, who had a absolute glorious head of hair before today, got a haircut, and it, on any other day but today, would have been flowing outside the
team
backside of that cap. Cut off the flow, but it didn't do anything to his strength. RBI number 2 for Ross Cadena, and they have to be scrambling over in the Cincinnati dugout wondering what kind of scouting report can we get on this guy. He only had 10 at-bats before today. Luke Ritter has another multi-hit game. That is 9 in his last 19. Stopping at second is Ross Cadena.
This is called making adjustments because we saw what Luke Ritter looked like back in his fifth inning strikeout against Coleman. He was well off of sliders away, had a hard time picking the baseball up out of Coleman's hand. This time makes an adjustment, gets something hittable, and drives it with authority through the left side.
So a leadoff walk in the late innings of a close game, as so often does, comes back to hurt the team that gave it up. And it does here in the Shocker half of the seventh. Gibson has scored. Now Cadena is in scoring position. Coleman cast that one in there for a strike. So Cadena at second, Ritter at first. Young has a single in 3 trips. Let that one travel, as they say, and fouled it over to the right.
It's another Chick-fil-A foul ball.
Travis with a 1-out single in the first, stole a base, came home on Bohm's RBI single, flied to center in the third, or excuse me, lined out into a double play in the third, right back to the pitcher. And he strikes out for the second time facing A.J. Coleman. So big out number 2 for the right-hander for Cincinnati.
This is his right-on-right slider we've been talking about from Coleman that's so tough to pick up. Not only moving away from a righty, but also just depth. That's almost a 12-6 action.
4 strikeouts for A.J. Coleman, who now has waded through 3 2/3 innings. And if Cincinnati wants to feel like it's still a part of this game, Coleman is going to have to get Bohm here. So Alec, who's 2 out of 3 with an RBI and a single off of Coleman. This might be the ball game right here. Shockers already leading by 3. Base hit to the outfield should almost certainly score. Cadena will be off with the crack of the bat. As they've done the whole series, shading him way around toward right. All kinds of room down the left field line. A good shot of it right there. Weimer, the left fielder, is almost into left center field. And a shot into right field, and Ramey's not going to get it. Cadena waved home, he'll score, and Bohm delivers again. It's 5-1. Alec Bohm wearing out the opposite field today.
3 hits to right field for Alec Bohm today, and this one another missile. Ramey, I thought with 2 outs was maybe going to test it. I thought for a second he was going to try and go into a head-first dive, but thought better of it at the last second. And, of course, with 2 outs, Cadena from second base was off with contact, got the wave around, and this is a big 2 spot for the Shockers here in the 7th.
So a clutch hit by Bohm. That gives him his 43rd run batted in. Troutwine's had a nice day at the plate, although Coleman had his number in the 6th. There was a base open with Bohm up there. It wasn't first base, but there was a base open. And if I'm Scott Guggens, the head coach for Cincinnati, I've been real tempted to walk him anyway. But hindsight being perfect, easy to say now.
No, I think that's a fair point. Something, too, that, and I just saw a video actually just a couple days ago analyzing that phenomena where intentional walks in first and second or first and third situations as compared to second and third.
Odds are a little bit better, right?
Just 1/10 as often, even though it's essentially going to set up the same situation.
Yep. And Troutwine delivers. So turned out to be a moot point. Bohm turns second, headed for third. He's going to make it. Troutwine trying to stretch it to second, and in there. Shockers with some breathing room now. Aggressive base running by Wichita State today, kind of countering Cincinnati running wild on the paths last night.
And this is all because Gunnar Troutwine watched the throw in from Weimer head towards third base. And for some reason, Weimer did not throw it in towards second. Troutwine had just a split-second hesitation coming around first, but with the whole play in front of him, that's a fairly easy read for him. And once the throw goes somewhere else, he was able to turn on the jets and just get in ahead of the tag.
Well, and the reason I say, and now they're going to walk Genesta. The reason I say maybe you walk Bohm is because Bohm got Coleman last time and Coleman struck out Troutwine last time. Well, Bohm got him again, and then as it turned out, Troutwine took a breaking ball that he struck out on last inning, and he waited on it and smacked it into left this inning. So Wichita State with now 3 here in the bottom of the 7th. They will be loaded up potentially with one more bad one for Alex Jackson. And here we go.
Speaking of, since we talked about umpires calling balls on a pitcher going to his mouth, a rule that absolutely is never enforced. I only bring this up because Thomas just reminded me of it. Catchers are supposed to have both feet inside the catcher's box before a pitch is delivered, and on intentional walks, it never happens. Catchers
There's only
always
one.
have 1 foot out every time. I don't really care, to be honest. It doesn't seem like a rule that needs to be enforced.
And I would defer to the catcher. I'd let him do it too.
Sure.
Yeah. Would you believe me if I told you I've seen a catcher's balk because of that very thing? I've seen it called.
Really?
Yep. Right down the middle of Jackson.
I did see I'm not sure what they ended up calling it, in the Royals-Red Sox game a couple days ago, in which Vasquez touched the ball with his mask, and that allowed 2 runners to move up.
Initially called a balk, but was interference, and that was a correct call. And Alex Jackson is going to bring in 2 more, and the Shockers turning this one into a bit of a laugher. A huge inning off of A.J. Coleman, and Alex Jackson with quite a day as Wichita State is batted around.
Much like his single back in the 4th inning, Jackson not trying to do too much. Pitch out away from him, and he just serves it to left field. This one struck with a little bit more authority, but the same concept. A guy who is locked in at the plate right now, delivering a big 2-run single.
Well, Scott Guggens tried to squeeze all he could out of A.J. Coleman, and Wichita State was the one applying the pressure. 5 runs in the 7th inning, and the Shockers have blown this one open. 8-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Still 2 on with 2 outs. Now Gibson due up. He walked to start this thing. Yeah, you're right, by the way. Getting back to that Royals game, if you touch the ball with any part of your equipment, most notably the catcher's mask, it's interference. And that was called the other night. Don't see that very often either. So Coleman's out of there. We'll tell you about the new Bearcat hurler in a moment.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Wichita State softball team winning last night over the South Florida Bulls 2-0, forging a tie at the top of the American. They are underway right now in Game 2, scoreless in the home half of the first in Tampa. The Shockers sweep. They'll have the title all to themselves. And Wichita State with quite a statement in the American. And Christy Bridbenner's softball team going for win number 13 in the conference, 31 overall.
And just one more win in that series against South Florida will clinch at least a tie for the conference championship. And, of course, they would then win the tiebreaker over the Bulls. And so a big-time opportunity for the Shocker softball team this weekend down in Florida.
Tristan Hammonds, your new pitcher for the Bearcats, as Hunter Gibson will become the 10th batter to come to the plate. A.J. Coleman looked pretty good through his first 3, including getting a triple play, first batter that he faced. Runner goes to third, and Gibson puts a jolt in one down the right field line, but foul. So Coleman goes 3 2/3, gives up 7 hits and 5 runs to this point. The Shockers all of a sudden have 14 hits. And comfortably in front 8-1, and Hunter Gibson came within a few feet of really delivering a knockout blow as Genesta was off with the pitch from second base.
I didn't think we were going to have a pitcher taller than A.J. Coleman, and then we get a 6'9" guy in there right afterwards. So the same rules apply, essentially, where it's going to be difficult to track the ball. And it's like the descriptions of facing Chris Young at the major league level where he throws the invisible. Doesn't throw particularly hard, but just hides it well.
And right off the heel, and if the shortstop Bremner would have barehanded that, that would have been the final out. It hit the heel of Hammonds, and Bremner, just kind of in self-defense, I suppose, tried to barehand it. Gibson with a BB back through the middle.
In a weekend of highlight defensive plays for Cincinnati, this was almost the best of the bunch. Can't quite see Bremner there, but had to slam on the brakes and reach back with a bare hand. Almost came up with a sensational play. How about Hunter Gibson, though?
How about him?
In there, in right field, has been on base all 4 times.
2 hits, 2 runs batted in. Alex Jackson, 2 hits, 3 runs batted in. Alex down at second base. Shockers have rung the bell 6 times here in the 7th, so it's now 9-1. Vickers made one of the outs here in the inning, a sacrifice bunt. Well hit into center, Habercorn back there in front of the track, and the inning is over. But Wichita State able to exhale a little bit as we head to the 8th.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Charles Koch Arena is the place where we gather as a community to compete against the very best. Now our game plan is to renovate Koch Arena by adding a new student-athlete success center. Your tax-deductible gift can help deliver that slam dunk. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Cody Tyler has 1 career save among his previous 56 lifetime appearances. If he gets the final 6 outs here, and we don't know if he'll be afforded that opportunity, he could get his second. It's now 9-1. The game a little bit out the gate, Denning, and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So Todd Butler has trotted Cody Tyler out there for the 8th inning with kind of being able to relax his belt a little bit now the Shockers lead by 8.
Well, 6 hits, all singles, and 6 runs has given Wichita State the breathing room that they've been looking for, and maybe just taking out some frustrations over the last game plus and what has been a frustrating and somewhat disappointing start to this series. Now Cody Tyler an opportunity to potentially lock this one up himself and save as much of the bullpen as possible for the series finale tomorrow morning.
Jordan Boyer is playing second base now, and Luke Ritter is playing right field. Scott Guggens has having a word with John Osmus, third base umpire, before we start the 8th. Top of the 8th, top of the order for the Bearcats. Motice triggers at the first pitch and fouls it off. So here we go to the 8th. Motice, 1 out of 3, 3rd inning single.
Roofing and construction at 316-202-2066, your home team pro.
Oh, 0-2. Leadoff man Kyle Tyler's longest outing this year has been 2 1/3. He's done that twice. But neither time before this had he an 8-run lead.
Makes pitching a little easier, doesn't it?
Sure does.
You can kind of simplify your game plan. Pitchers will tell you that they're at their sharpest in a close game where they have to stay focused the whole time, and I certainly understand that. But I can also say that there is definitely a benefit to being able to breathe a sigh of relief.
You don't want to be gritting your teeth on every single pitch, I can tell you that.
It's like you said yesterday when we talked about the difference between just a high pitch count and pitches in high-stress situations. If every pitch is a high-stress situation with a 1-0 game, that's a difference maker.
It's the difference between fatigue and not. Strikeout number 2 for Cody Tyler. Tyler pitched around a leadoff single in the top half of the inning, or the top half of the 7th, I should say. And he's gone to a little cutter or slider multiple times here in this outing to pretty good success. Struck out Bremner with it last inning.
He makes it look pretty easy against left-handed hitters sometimes.
There is something about his delivery and his spot on the rubber that left-hand batters, and really righties for that matter, and that one's inside outed to right field off the bat of Joey Thomas. But again, the angle and or the deception and him hiding it, guys don't get very good swings on 89-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Third baseman.
Yeah, it's a short arm action, and it gets on you pretty quick. I've played catch with Cody a couple times when he was rehabbing from his arm injuries, and I can tell you even at 75% effort level, it still gets on you in a hurry.
So Thomas' day is going to be finished. Mason Deanna is going to run. He's listed as a catcher, so presumably would take over in the bottom of the 8th. So McVeigh with 1 on and 1 out. 6th hit of the ball game for Cincinnati. Pretty darn good start from Tyler Davis, wouldn't you agree? 4 hits and 1 unearned run after the Shockers lost last night. Not bad.
Not bad at all. And when you factor in the context of Wichita State really needing it, just plays up how big a start that was. Your offense puts up 9 runs. It's easy to kind of get lost in the wash a little bit. Say anybody could have won that start, but it gave the offense time. And I think there's a certain confidence level, too, for your offense when you see, okay, we got a starting pitcher who knows what he's doing out there, who's got confidence, who's attacking the strike zone. This gives the game a little bit more flow, allows you to get engaged in the game a lot easier.
9-1 now, but it was 1-1 in the bottom of the 4th. And when it really mattered, Tyler Davis was ultra sharp. 4 hits, 1 run. As I mentioned, it was unearned. He did hit 2. One of those guys came around to score, but all the hits that have been given up today have been singles.
I'm not sure if he isn't your Friday night starter next week.
He just made a big argument for it. McVeigh pounds one into left field, so there are 2 on with 1 out. Connor McVeigh, multi-hit game. Deanna stops at second. Now Weimer.
Left fielder Joey Weimer.
Weimer was one of the guys that Tyler Davis hit, and he has scored the Bearcats' only run. Stolen base, E2, came home on Santiago's single in the 4th. We believe that Wichita State will turn to Preston Snavely tomorrow morning. He'll be opposed by lefty Cam Aldred. Aldred 4-2 on the year. Snavely 3-1. If it is Preston, it will be his first outing in American play. Normally the Shockers midweek starter, and Denning turned into a pretty good one. 8 of his outings, 7 of them starts.
Yeah, you hope he can carry the same mentality into the weekend, and it shouldn't be that big of an adjustment. But sometimes just the title of it, weekend starter versus midweek starter, can get in guys' brains just a little bit, and they approach the game differently. I think Preston Snavely over the last couple outings has really stumbled upon something and has made him a lot more effective. He's been in the zone aggressively, using all of his pitches, going right at guys. It's been fun to watch.
Strike 3 called. Down goes Weimer for the second time as he jogs back to the dugout. To your point, Denning, Preston Snavely in his last 2 starts combined, 11 innings, 2 earned runs. So give me anything like that, and Shockers will be happy. Cody Tyler's happy that he got that call.
Continuing the strikeout parade, and a little surprised that Cincinnati is going to let Cole Murphy hit against him. Seems like a fairly good matchup here for Wichita State, a guy who destroys left-handed hitters, and a 183 hitting Cole Murphy.
Who is even worse than that in American play. 4 for 41. So Tyler with 3 more strikeouts today. One was high and one was low to a guy that's really tall. 2 on, 2 out. We're in the 8th. Yeah, you weren't up there to walk anyway. Second game of the Texas-Arlington series back on March 10th. Shocker pitching staff did not issue a walk. It's the only time this year that Shockers have gone all the way through a game without walking on an opposing hitter. They've hit 2 today, but no bases on balls. Two.
Can't even begin to tell you how big a fan I am of those last 2 pitches. With a 8-run lead and a 2-0 count, even a guy like Murphy with his kind of power, come right after him. He is not going to hit an 8-run homer.
Nope. Try as he might. Cody Tyler strikes out the side, and the Shockers are 3 outs away from evening the series up at a game apiece.
Become a part of history at Wichita State University by helping us complete X Stadium. A new 10,000 square foot performance facility will give our baseball, softball, tennis, and golf student athletes the strength and conditioning training space they need. Your tax-deductible gift will help us knock it out of the park. Join us at the level that is right for you. Donate online at wichita.edu/shock the world.
Cale Baker takes over behind home plate for Cincinnati as the Shockers come up for what they hope is the final time. Inning of the day was the 7th. Shockers turned a 3-1 game into a laugher. Cadena, then Ritter, then Young. Scheduled hitters here in the Shocker 8th against Hammonds. Hammonds got the final out of the 8th. There's Baker. Motice moves from second over to third. Jace Mercer is now playing second. For those of you scoring along at home. And Mercer, if it happens, would come up and bat third in the order. Ross Cadena's had a day. Flied to relatively deep center. Lined out to left. Brought home a run with a single and scored himself last inning.
The battle for the starting catcher position next year is going to be an interesting one.
Cadena robbed by Bremner at the moment, and he is denied a 2-hit game. Ross Cadena really swinging the bat with authority today.
Not a bad play from a guy making his second start of the season at shortstop. Went to the 6 hole into the backhand, had to plant and throw, and takes advantage of a turf hop, which is what you're supposed to do, and you don't feel like you can get it all the way there. Just play it into one long bounce, made it an easy hop for Santiago.
You were saying about the Shocker battle behind home plate tomorrow, next year?
Well, yeah, I think it's really going to set up as Noah Croft versus Ross Cadena, and two guys who have, in limited opportunities, swung the bat really well this year. Obviously, you're having to replace more than just production when it comes to Gunnar Troutwine. There's senior leadership there. There's a clubhouse guy who's been in the program for 4 seasons. But it will be a very interesting battle to watch, and a chance to see both those guys a lot, not necessarily just one of them grabbing the job and starting 45 games.
A fair ball, and Ritter is out. 2 down. Luke will have to settle for a 2-for-5 day, and we'll take a 19-game hitting streak into the series finale tomorrow morning. Travis Young, 1 out of 4. Cadena had only one other start this year. Noah Croft got to start a handful of games behind the plate. He was limited with a shoulder injury at the very beginning of the season. Ramey, fighting the elements, makes the catch. And we go to the 9th with Shockers 3 outs away from taking the second game of the series.
Introducing Dunkin's new cold brew coffee, steeped slowly in cold water for small batches with an ultra-smooth, full-bodied flavor. Discover the craft of cold brew today and keep on. America runs on Dunkin'.
Shockers closing in on a victory. It would be their 29th overall, their 6th in the league. Unfortunately, down in Tampa, South Florida Bulls in softball, 2 in the first, 1 in the second. There you see it. Trailing 3-0 and now 4-0 as the Bulls have just struck again. So be an uphill climb if Wichita State wants to clinch the series in softball this afternoon down in Florida. Cody Tyler will indeed try for a 3-inning save. Struck out the side in the 8th inning with a couple of base hits mixed in there. Eric Santiago working on a perfect day. Singles in the 2nd, 4th, and 7th. Scott Guggens just can't stay out of the ear of the third base umpire, John Osmus. Otherwise, Denning, this game might be over by now.
I don't have a clue what is going on over there.
Well, he's not happy with his dugout, and I'm not exactly sure why. This game has been decided for quite some time. I'm going to speculate here that he's apologizing or buffering on behalf of his dugout. Osmus obviously is the closest one to it.
Why the dugout would be wearing out the
know.
third base umpire is beyond me, but those are the things that are hard to address from up here in the press box, and speculation doesn't do us much good.
That's where the collegiate comparison of Ken Rosenthal down in the dugout, or a field reporter,
Yeah,
would
let's go down to our sideline.
come in handy, yeah. Been kind of a frustrating day for Cincinnati, but not really. So I don't know that anything really sticks out that would be a point of contention, but anyway. Two and one to Eric Santiago. One out.
Shane, I don't know about you, but I feel like a win here this afternoon sets up, to this point in the season, maybe the biggest game of Wichita State's season.
I don't think that's overstating it.
There will be bigger ones
Sure.
down the road, but up to this point, I mean, you got to win series at home in the conference, and Shockers have put themselves behind the 8 ball with their start to AAC play. This is one that they need to have.
Well, and maybe to play devil's advocate and to argue semantics a little bit, if they lose tomorrow, it could be argued there won't be bigger ones down the road. The one tomorrow's big. You win that, then you move on. Winning series is where it's at. And the Shockers will have that chance tomorrow.
So no pressure, Preston Snavely.
Right.
But probably the biggest start of his young career will be coming tomorrow. The good news for Wichita State is that they should have a fairly well-rested bullpen available to support him. Of course, they used 5 relievers yesterday, but Alex Siegel chewed up a bunch of those innings.
That's a Green Vision Group strikeout.
Bremner has struck out twice facing Cody Tyler. And twice he's seen really good sliders.
Center fielder Trent Haberman.
5 strikeouts in 2 2/3. That's 10 on the day for Shocker pitching. And we are one batter away from going all the way through a game where the pitching absolutely carried everybody else. Now, that 6-run 7th was nice, but Tyler Davis and Cody Tyler were great today.
New season high for strikeouts for Cody Tyler, breaking the previous mark of 4 set against Houston earlier this year. 30 punch-outs now for him in 21 innings.
And the celebration will have to wait a little bit as Habercorn shoots one into center field.
That strikeout to walk ratio of 30-4 really jumps out at you.
By the way, The Shockers now have, as a team, gone over the 400 strikeout plateau. That's 401.
And Cincinnati's going to call upon a pinch hitter here as Cale Baker will grab a bat.
How about that? Ramey is 0 for 3. And 0 for 3 he will stay. Wichita State takes game 2 in not exactly ho-hum fashion, but after that 6-run 7th, final couple innings were pretty low stress. Shockers even the series at 1 game apiece.
Wichita State University is preparing today's students to become tomorrow's leaders. The Shock the World campaign is raising $25 million in private funds for a new home for the W. Frank Barton School on the Innovation Campus. Invest today in tomorrow's business leaders by calling 316-978-4076 or visit www.wichita.edu/shocktheworld.
Tyler Davis the win, Cody Tyler the save. That sets up the rubber match tomorrow. Preston Snavely presumably will get the start for Wichita State, and like we talked about last half inning, Denning, winning series is where it's at. Shockers will have that chance tomorrow morning at 10:30.
Something that Wichita State has only done one other time this season with the series victory at home against Tulane. A chance to do it tomorrow in what becomes a very big ball game. Huge props to Tyler Davis and Cody Tyler. Those two guys outstanding as the Shocker pitchers did not issue a walk this afternoon.
But like they did against Tulane, dropped the opening game of this series, came back to win the other two against the Green Wave. They'll try to do that again here tomorrow morning. 10:30 first pitch here on WSUTV as the Shockers will try to win the series over the Bearcats. For Denning Gehrig, I'm Shane Dennis. Thanks again to Greg and all of our crew on the WSUTV broadcast. All Shockers today, 9-1 the final. Until tomorrow at 10:30. So long from X Stadium.